Well, all of the orbits are spheres, not necessarily all the shapes inside them. I was really hoping that we'd get some sort of juggling pun in here to make it work. But I guess not. Oh well, it's Coldplay. Let's talk about it. Welcome back to Y.E.S, everyone. Today we're talking about Music of the Spheres, the 9th studio album released by Coldplay. Another great band where I usually like a good chunk of their content is presenting us a pretty interesting take on their music. Coldplay has decided to go for the stars per se with their music here. Definitely more space oriented. I wouldn't necessarily call it space rock like I do for Angels and Airwaves, but there's definitely a beyond the stars oriented style here. It's pretty evident when you listen to it. Now, what are we actually getting out of this album? Well, to be honest, there is a lot of good things here, and Coldplay doesn't really sink necessarily. But there's a lot of this album that I get why whoever is assisting them with their marketing thinks that certain songs might be more popular. But I unfortunately have to disagree with some of it. It's not necessarily that it's bad, but I don't think it lives up to what their iconicness truly embodies. Coldplay's been around for a while now, and even a few years ago, I felt like people were either hearing rumors or starting rumors of their retirement. And I thought to myself, well, they're still making some good songs, and so it's kind of feels premature in that regard. And I still feel that way. However, this ambitious take on what they want to do with their music makes me think, well, that didn't live up to what I hoped you would do. I am trying to find ways in order to not make it sound like I'm bashing it, because there is so much good arrangement and production in this album that I just have to respect. I just have to. But when we add on the songwriting lyrically and maybe some of the topics in here, I'm not really sure if I'm seeing anything that really is a true standout. Their lead single, Higher Power, came out a while back, and I just thought, this sounds like something that maybe I've heard before, but not as musically engaging. And so I just thought, okay, well, there's one that I didn't care for, but let's see what the rest of the album can provide. And then they have My Universe, which also features BTS. And to be honest, I actually like the feature with them, but the end product and the peak of the song, whether you're landing in the chorus or whatever point you think that it's supposed to have, I don't feel like really pays off in the end. This is one of those songs where I feel like a lot of really talented and creative elements individually look amazing, but put them together, There's something that can be there, but it wasn't mixed properly and create the beautiful, delicious dessert that we could have had here. To be honest, I actually like some of the songs in here that are slightly more reliant on being instrumental and that kind of are supposed to be taken in an, I guess, interlude kind of way. They aren't necessarily labeled that way, but they kind of have this task to be so, to transition from one part of the album to the next, which I find interesting because when I put it in my playlist, I just keep thinking to myself, these are not the songs that I think they wanted to highlight. Despite that, it's a good thing that they're enjoyable. So let's talk about a couple of songs that I liked, because yeah, we should do that. I'll start off with a lyrical song called Humankind. This is the first one lyrically where I thought, all right, I think they're in their element and this is working okay. Plus, they're getting help from John Hopkins. Oh my gosh. That is a treat. If you watched my review of his album Singularity, you'll know that I think that he is definitely aiding in this type of theme for this album. The following highlight I'd like to mention is Human Heart. The vocal talents of We Are King are lended here, and Jacob Collier also makes an appearance. Going back to something I said earlier about the instrumental heavy songs, I'm going to highlight Infinity Sign, which also has John Hopkins lending his hand in it. It's songs like these that make me think, yeah, they know what they're doing still. But for a theme and idea as profoundly huge as this one, it feels, I guess, safe is the right word to describe it here. I don't have a lot of negative emotion toward this album, but there is a part of me that does have that element of being let down because these guys are just so talented and you expect so much more from them. It's kind of like being given a very nicely packed present where it's all wrapped up, and even after you rip it off and check out the packaging that it comes in, because it's supposedly from a nice brand or something like that, the end product just kind of feels like it was all right. I know we've all ordered something online that was kind of like that, where it is nice and you trust the brand, but your idea of what you ordered, per se, just is kind of subpar. It's not bad, it didn't come broken, it just doesn't meet the ideas and the standards that you would have hoped that it would live up to. And that's kind of what this album is. So, after having listened and reviewed this album, with the following grades in the following categories here, how would I recommend this album? I am going to give it a good. This is another one of those times where I feel like I have to try and describe what I mean by good. A lot of times where it would just be, yeah, it's good. I feel confident in saying it's good. I don't have to overpraise it, but I feel confident in saying it's good. This time, I kind of feel like the idea is probably on that level, but the execution of it is more like a good enough. And I really think that's a low bar for Coldplay, and I'm sorry to say that. I think that they can still pull things off before they decide to call it quits, or at least to call it quits to making new music. They still have some life in them. I'm pretty confident about that. So we'll see what they choose to do next in the years to come. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me in my social media links down in the description below, and insert cool call to action graphics right here. Be sure to follow these so you can come back here where you can discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, culture, and lifestyle, while not forgetting quality, values, and fun. And above all, get that yes in your life. See you next time.